Hey y'all, it's Kara. I'm so excited for tonight's video because Savannah from Riveting Reads tagged me to do the Thrilling Thrillers book tag, and actually Nicole from A Beautiful Chaos of Books created this tag a few years ago. Nicole and I buddy read a book together earlier this year with Amy Myers. We read The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo together. Nicole is such a sweet, beautiful person, and so is Savannah. Check out both of their channels in the description of this video, and let's get started with the tag. The first question is, what is the last thriller that you bought? For me, this was Pines by Blake Crouch. Now, I have read from Blake Crouch before. He's not one of my favorite authors or anything like that because I've read some of his sci-fi, but I think that Pines is going to be a little bit more on the thriller side than like the sci-fi side, perhaps. I know it's about this agent who goes to investigate these other missing agents in this small town, and once he gets there, he's in this accident, and then when he wakes up, he's in a hospital, and things are just weird. There's an electric fence surrounding the city, and also he like can't get in touch with people from outside of the fence, and he's like, what is up here? So I think it sounds so weird and so good. It rides that fine line between like science fiction, speculative fiction. I love that very specific niche genre, but when it starts getting into sci-fi, sometimes it's nothing against the genre. Sometimes it just goes over my head personally, so I hope that it's gonna be a really fun thriller. I also thrifted the second book in that series when I got Pines, so I really hope I like it because even though they were cheap, I did buy both of them. So hopefully I will enjoy both of those. The next prompt is to show you the most recent thriller that I've added to my TBR. So most recently I've added The Invention of Sound to my TBR. This is by Chuck Palahniuk. If you know me, you know I love Chuck, but I also have a hard time recommending him on this channel just because he is really offensive. I'm not gonna lie, he's offensive. He writes really graphic stories, and also it just feels strange to recommend him to my viewers, but I personally love him. If you like his style, then definitely check him out. Some of my favorite books by him are Fight Club and Invisible Monsters. The Invention of Sound seems like it's gonna have two separate storylines that end up intermingling in some way. The first storyline is about a father who is searching for his missing daughter, and this search has apparently been going on for quite some time. And the second storyline is about this woman whose job is to create sound effects for horror movies. So she's always on the hunt to find the perfect scream, the perfect disgusting sound, and somehow I think the two storylines are going to converge. I love the cover, I love Chuck, I love the sound of the story. This book is exactly for me. I had this book in my Amazon cart to pre-order, but then it was so expensive, you guys. I could not justify spending like 30 bucks on something that I knew I probably wasn't even gonna read immediately after it came in, but it is one of the books that I'm most excited to get to in 2021. Oh my gosh, 2021 is so close. We're almost there, you guys. Not that it's gonna be a perfect fix-all, but I'm so ready for 2020 to be over. Question number 3 is, what thriller did you have high expectations for that ultimately let you down? I actually have a lot of answers for this, but there's one that sticks out very clearly in my mind. It's All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. Now, I did give this book about 3 stars. It was not a bad book, and I still would recommend this if you are interested in the story. But this book does something really specific with the plot progression that I am such a fan of, and that we start at the end. We know how this book is going to end. So the main plot twist is, how did all of this mess get started? I'm a little bit biased because my favorite movie of all time is Memento, and it relies on this exact same plot progression. And also, some shameless self-promo here. When I was in college, I submitted a short story into my university's literary magazine that had this same plot progression of, we know how this ends, now how did this get started? And that story did win the Editor's Choice Award. Okay, that's embarrassing. But anyway, ever since I knew that that was a book that was going to rely on that, I really thought I was going to love it, and I just didn't. It also has another trope I love in a woman returning to her hometown after swearing that she was never going to come back. So she gets there, she starts investigating a missing person's case that is similar to a missing person's case that happened when she lived in the town previously. It sounded like the perfect recipe for everything that I love in a book, and then it just didn't add up for me. Now, I said at the beginning, I'll say it again, I think this book was fine, but just with it being everything that I love combined into one story, I think it's my fault that I set my expectations too high. Speaking of tropes in thriller books, the fourth question is to name some tropes that I love in thrillers and some tropes that I hate in thrillers. My number one favorite trope is an isolated setting. So someone goes out to the middle of nowhere, we're either snowed in or for some reason we're stuck in this single setting, and then stuff starts going down. I think that makes the book so fast-paced and so easy to read. I absolutely love it. And then my least favorite trope used to be my very favorite trope. I have some tea for you guys. So my least favorite trope is probably memory loss. Now I know I was just talking about Memento, my all-time favorite movie. If you have not seen that movie, please go watch it. But also, it is all about a man who has lost his short-term memory. So because I used to be so obsessed with that movie, I used to read so many books about memory loss. And it's not even that I don't like it anymore. I think I just got tired of the trope, so it's more of a personal thing. If you're interested, I have a lot of memory loss book recommendations, but I just don't think anyone's asking for that right now. So I'm gonna keep them to myself. Prompt number 5 is to recommend an underrated thriller, and I know exactly what I'm going to talk about here. It's The Night the Lights Went Out by Karen White. I know I've talked about this a lot on my channel this year, but it's because I don't see anyone else ever talking about it besides like Haley, and I sent her that book and she enjoyed it. She said she passed it along to her mom. After I finished it, I passed it along to my mom. It's such a good mom book, but also like it's a really good suburban thriller about all of this domestic drama that I absolutely ate right up. If you liked Big Little Lies, I really think that you will like The Night the Lights Went Out. It's not super similar, but it has that similar feel. This is all about a woman who is recently divorced and she's got 2 children and she's living on her own with her children for the first time in her adult life. She starts renting from this elderly landlady and they strike up this unlikely friendship. And from there we have some different perspectives. We've got some drama ensuing in the town. We've got some murder sprinkled in. It's everything that I wanted it to be, and it is really what got me onto this Karen White jag. So I am highly recommending it to you guys right now. Prompt number 6 is literally so much fun. Basically, I have to give you guys 3 different thrillers. 2 of them I have read and 1 of them I have not read, and I have some difficult ones for you guys unless you know me. If you know me, this will probably be easy, but if you don't, I don't ever talk about these books on my channel ever. The 3 books are Gone Girl by Gillian Flynn, The Whisper Network by Chandler Baker, and Watching You by Lisa Jewell. So comment down below which one you think I have not read. Okay, I know that sounds random, or maybe it's gonna be really obvious. I don't know. Prompt number 7 is to recommend a thriller for beginners. I'm gonna go back to that isolated setting trope that I was just talking about and recommend No Exit by Taylor Adams. This is probably my favorite thriller of all time, but also I think it is really readable and really digestible for readers who don't necessarily like thrillers. It is an isolated setting. The book takes place over the course of 1 single night and is so fast-paced. I read it in 24 hours or less and I could not put the book down. It's all about this girl who's trying her hardest to get home, and she gets stranded at this rest area. You've seen them. They're like those gas station, convenience center rest areas on the side of the interstate whenever you're traveling. She gets stuck at one of those, gets snowed in, and then once she realizes something really scary out in the parking lot, it is too late. She cannot escape. So from there we go on this journey of good versus evil, and it is so intense. My stomach was all like bunched up the entire time, and yet I was not ever horrified. You know what I mean? So like, I think it's a really good fast-paced thriller, but it's also pretty easy for beginners of the genre to get through. Question number 8 is, what is your all-time favorite thriller? If you are not new to my channel, you are tired of hearing me talk about this book, but I'm gonna say it anyway. It's Shutter Island by Dennis Lehane. This isn't even like my favorite thriller of all time. It's one of my favorite books of all time. It's all about these 2 US Marshals who get called in to Shutter Island. And Shutter Island houses this very dangerous mental institution, and the Marshals are called in because one of the patients from the mental institution has escaped, and the patient is nowhere to be found on this island, and they're there to investigate it. And from there, like, the plot twist in this book is insane. If you have not been spoiled for this book, or if you've not seen the movie, then please read it if you're interested in it. It is my favorite, and I know a lot of people say it's boring, and I'll admit it has a slow start, but once you finish it, I am gonna be surprised if you're not obsessed with it, you know what I mean? Lastly, I'm supposed to tag some fellow thriller lovers, but I feel like a lot of my friends either have this tag on their radar or they have already participated in the tag. So just know that if you love thrillers and you're interested in recreating this video, then please go ahead and do so. I am so excited to see what you guys think about the answers I gave, and also if you want to participate in the tag, let me know in the comments because I want to watch your videos too. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I love you all. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.